6 months ago, I made a decision that everyone said was insane. I gave up my apartment and started sleeping in my car. Today, I'm a millionaire. This is how I did it. I showered at the gym. I worked at coffee shops. I ate one meal a day. People laughed at me. My family begged me to quit. But I had a vision they couldn't see. Every night while others slept in warm beds, I built my business from that car. 12-hour days turned into 16. Failure wasn't an option because I had nowhere else to fall. I had $17 left. My business partner quit. Clients weren't paying. This was my rock bottom. The moment that either breaks you or makes you unstoppable. Then everything changed. One client became 10. 10 became 100. 6 months later, I signed my first $1 million contract. From homeless to millionaire. This is that story. It was July 15th when I got the eviction notice. 3 months behind on rent. My startup had burned through every dollar I had. I was 28 years old, broke, and about to be homeless. My girlfriend left me. My friends stopped calling. Even my mom said I should just get a normal job. But something inside me refused to quit. I knew I was onto something. I just needed more time. More focus. More desperation. I looked at my beat-up Honda Civic and made a calculation. If I lived in my car, I could save $2,000 a month in rent and bills. That's $2,000 more I could pour into my business. That's $60,000 a year I wouldn't need to survive. So I did it. I packed everything I owned into storage for $50 a month, threw a sleeping bag in my backseat, and became voluntarily homeless. Not because I had to, but because I wanted it more than comfort. The first night was terrifying. I parked at a 24-hour gym lot, doors locked, constantly waking up to every sound. It was 90 degrees inside the car. I couldn't stretch my legs. My back hurt. I questioned everything. But when morning came, I walked into that gym, took a cold shower, and got to work. I'd crossed a line most people never cross. The line where comfort matters less than purpose. I developed a system. Wake up at 5 a.m. Gym by 5:30 for shower and workout. Coffee shop by 7 a.m. when they opened. Work until noon. Library until 5 p.m. for free Wi-Fi. Eat one big meal at Chipotle. Work from the car until midnight. Sleep. Repeat. I spent maybe $15 a day. Every other dollar went into my business. Facebook ads. Software subscriptions. A virtual assistant in the Philippines. I was building an empire from a parking lot. People looked at me differently. The baristas who saw me every day. The gym staff who knew I was showering there. I overheard someone say, "That's the guy who lives in his car." It stung. But their judgment fueled me. Every doubt, every whisper, every look of pity became rocket fuel. I wasn't homeless because I failed. I was homeless because I was so committed to succeeding that nothing else mattered. There's power in that. Day 43. I was at Starbucks when my phone buzzed. Payment received, $3,000. My first real client. I literally started crying in public. That $3,000 meant I could do this for another 2 months. It meant validation. It meant I wasn't crazy. I called my mom and she cried too. Not because of the money, but because she heard hope in my voice again. That moment, sitting in a coffee shop with tears on my face, was when I knew I'd already won. I reinvested everything. 1 client became 3. 3 became 8. I hired my first employee, another hungry kid who worked remotely for equity. We were a 2-man startup taking on established companies. I'd take sales calls from my car, pretending I was in an office. Sorry for the background noise, I'm in my home office. They never knew home was a 2004 Honda. I was outworking everyone because I had to. There was no safety net. No plan B. Just plan A until it worked. Then winter came. 15-degree nights. I'd run the car for heat until the gas gauge scared me. Frost formed inside the windows. I wore every layer I owned. This is when most people would quit. But I'd come too far. Those cold nights taught me something. Discomfort is temporary, but regret is forever. I wasn't going to be 80 years old wondering what if. I was all in, frostbite and all. Living in my car forced me to master my mind. I started meditating every morning in a park. I journaled every night. I read books on stoicism, on resilience, on every billionaire who started with nothing. I realized this wasn't just about building a business. This was about building an unbreakable version of myself. A man who could handle any pressure, any setback, any challenge. The car was my crucible. I was being forged into something stronger. Month 4. I landed a meeting with a Fortune 500 company. I showed up in the only suit I owned, stored in my gym locker to keep it unwrinkled. They had no idea I'd slept in a parking lot the night before. I pitched them a $20,000 contract. They said yes on the spot. I walked out of that building, got in my car, and screamed. Not from excitement, but from relief. I was going to make it. Once you prove the model works, everything accelerates. 20,000 became 50,000. 50 became 100. I hired 3 more people. We had 15 active clients. Revenue was doubling every month. I still lived in my car though. Not because I had to anymore, but because I wanted to see how far I could push. How much I could save. How big I could build this thing before I celebrated. Delayed gratification is a superpower. By month 5, I had a team of 7. We rented a small co-working space. They still didn't know I was homeless. I'd change clothes in the gym, show up fresh, lead meetings, then go back to my car at night. One day my business partner found out. He was shocked. Then he said something I'll never forget: "That's the most dedicated thing I've ever seen. That's why this is working. You're not just talking about hustle. You're living it." Day 173. That's the day everything changed forever. I closed a $1.2 million annual contract. I stared at the signed document for 20 minutes. I'd done it. From $17 to over $1 million in 6 months. I called my mom. She cried. I cried. Then I drove my car to the beach, parked it, and watched the sunset. That car had been my prison and my palace. It taught me everything I needed to know about success. I signed a lease on a penthouse apartment. 22nd floor. Floor-to-ceiling windows. As I walked through it empty, I thought about that car. About the cold nights, the judgment, the doubt. I didn't cry because I had a nice place. I cried because I'd proven to myself that I could do impossible things. The apartment was just a symbol. The real victory was who I'd become in the process. Unbreakable. Unstoppable. Undeniable. But let me be honest about what it cost. I lost my relationship. Missed my best friend's wedding. Didn't see my family for months. My health suffered. My social life died. Success isn't free. It demands everything. You have to decide if you're willing to pay that price. Some days I wonder if I would do it differently. Then I remember, comfortable people don't change the world. I wasn't trying to be comfortable. I was trying to be free. I still have that Honda Civic. It sits in my garage next to my Tesla. I keep it as a reminder. When things get hard in business, and they do, I sit in that back seat and remember. Remember the hunger. Remember the cold nights. Remember the person I became when I had nothing to lose. That car is my greatest teacher. It taught me that comfort is the enemy of greatness. That desperation breeds innovation. That when you burn the boats, you find a way to swim. Now I speak at events. I mentor young entrepreneurs. And I always tell them the same thing: your current situation is not your final destination. I was living in a car 6 months before becoming a millionaire. But the real wealth wasn't the money. It was the man I had to become to earn it. Someone who doesn't quit. Someone who sacrifices. Someone who believes in himself even when no one else does. That's worth more than any bank account. Here's what I learned: society will try to convince you that success is a straight line. Go to school, get a job, work 40 years, retire. But that's not success. That's survival. Real success requires risk. Real success requires seasons of struggle that most people aren't willing to endure. You want to know the secret? There is no secret. It's just dedication, sacrifice, and refusing to quit when every logical reason says you should. The car was my university. Struggle was my teacher. So what's your car? What's the thing you're not willing to do because it's uncomfortable? What's the sacrifice you're not willing to make? What's the dream you're not chasing because you're too attached to comfort? I'm telling you right now, your life won't change until you're willing to get uncomfortable. Until you're willing to look crazy to other people. Until you're willing to risk everything for the life you want. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for perfect timing. Start now. Your car is waiting. If this story inspired you, smash that subscribe button. I share the unfiltered truth about building wealth from nothing. Comment below: what comfort are you willing to give up to chase your dreams? Remember, 6 months from now, you'll wish you started today. Don't let that be you. I'll see you in the next video. Now go build your empire.